going to try and do a very rapid video of replacing a clutch on a 2004 Toyota Corolla. I'm just going to do a little size up on what we're doing here. So just want to show you where the transaxle is, where the clutch is, and what we got to do. So first thing, I removed the battery already. I didn't do a video on that because it's quite straightforward. In here, just bending in there, that is the transaxle. We're going to remove that because between the transaxle and the engine over here is the clutch. The clutch looks like a frisbee. It just attaches on top of the flywheel on the motor. And to get rid of the transaxle, you know, to expose the clutch so we can remove the clutch and replace it, we need to basically just remove all the cables, anything that's attached to the top of the engine that gets in the way. So we're going to remove all this stuff. It's actually quite straightforward. And we're starting with the release cylinder, which is this thing down here. It's the slave cylinder, maybe referred to. So basically what happens is in the car, when you depress the clutch pedal in the car, it exerts hydraulic pressure this way through the release or slave cylinder, and it pushes on this piece of metal right there. That moves over, and you can imagine this is a lever, right? So it levers this way, and inside, the other end of the lever, compresses the clutch, and the clutch is then uses like reverse pressure. The clutch moves this way and disengages from the motor. So when you hit the gas, the motor spins, but there's no clutch to engage with, so the motor just spins and you don't get any motion. When you release the clutch pedal, this closes and the clutch engages with the flywheel and the motor, and you accelerate. Okay, so what we're going to do basically, as I said, that transaxle, it's connected to a lot of components in the motor. We're going to remove all those components. They're all bolted in. It's quite straightforward. We're going to remove the transaxle then from the engine. There's a bunch of mounting bolts over here. Drop that down, remove it, do the clutch, and replace all the parts. Easier said than done. First step, remove the release cylinder, slave cylinder. I've used a 12 ml wrench to do that bolt you can see, and then that bolt there. Pull those out, and then the slave cylinder just pulls right off. I'm going to suspend it with a piece of tie wire up here somewhere. Keep it out of the way. This is for my friend Frank. He was having a laugh at me for kind of dressing up when I do outdoor stuff. So yes, Frank, collared shirt, jeans, and loafers. Starting off, just safety, I've got the car jacked up, I've got jack stands underneath, I've got braces in the back. I've got my tools somewhat laid out for the first step. The first step is a manual transmission drain. We're going to drain the fluid out of it. I've got a creeper. I've got a couple of breaker bar, a wrench. I've got a long breaker bar with a 24 millimeter socket on it. You need that that's the drain plug size for the manual transmission. Have one of those, and that's a 10 millimeter socket. I use that to remove the two screws that are in this. This is the splash guard. I already took it out. Splash guard is in the same position in the front of the car. There are a lot of little one-time only sacrificial pins. You just pull the splash guard away, and those pins break. You need to buy them and put them back in. But there are two 10 millimeter screws holding those two holes in, I believe. Okay, I've got a drain pan. Transmission gear oil drain pan. I'll keep it, and I've got a socket set with a channel lock and some screwdrivers. You know, who knows what I'll need. And remove that splash guard from underneath the car. There's two screws which I left in the chassis, and then a couple of other little temporary sacrificial things I'll have to rebuy or use to zip strips. Alright, as I go through this video, I'll try to give everybody a frame of reference on where I'm working. That's the difficulty I find with a lot of YouTube videos and pictures, is that people don't tell you, where it is that they're working on. So this is that's the passenger side car side. That's the tire. I use a notebook. I'm listening to some podcasts on iTunes through a speaker, so passes the time. There's the front of the car. This is underneath the car. That is the transaxle, okay, that I pointed out in the earlier video from below. And just a frame of reference, so there is the slave cylinder, release cylinder. that is hanging up by a piece of tie wire. And what I'm going to do now is drain the oil, the gear oil, out of the manual transmission. There's two plugs. One is this is the fill plug right there. Well, the fill level plug, okay? So, and the other one is back here. I don't know if you can see that, but there it is. They're both 24 millimeter. There it is, sorry. That is the drain plug, so I'm going to undo that and drain the oil into the little pan there. And this is when you fill the gear oil back up into the transaxle, you basically just stick your finger in there until you can feel the oil reach the surface. Okay.